Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ajay Arya from A-Square Designs, Kolkata, and we are here this afternoon to be discussing on a very interesting topic, and the topic of discussion is industrial lighting. We're so used to, discuss ambient lighting and lighting for residential projects, commercial projects, but this one is a different topic, and I think it's going to hold interest for the audience. So I'm here with esteemed guests, architects and gentlemen from Eveready Group, and I would like to request them to introduce themselves.
Well, I'm actually Bipratip Dhar. I'm an architect from Kolkata, and I actually represent the company called Epsilon.
Great.
Hi, I'm architect Kamal Periwal. I practice architecture interior. We have offices in Kolkata and Mumbai.
Hi, good afternoon to all. I am Subrata representing Eveready Industries. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon all. I'm Mohit Sharma. I'm heading Eveready and representing Eveready also.
Great. Welcome, gentlemen, to this discussion. I think it's going to be an interesting one. So the first question is an icebreaker question. And my question is to you, Mr. Dhar. So what has been the coolest industrial lighting project you've ever worked on or seen?
Well, as I was just speaking just a little while back, my first let us say introduction into the industrial my first introduction into the industrial work was some of these car showrooms which people had done, and I believe it was almost around 15 years back. And it was these showrooms which we used to have for actually companies like actually Fiat and all these. So along with the showroom, we also had to do these actually workshops.
Okay.
And the kind of parameters which actually are there are actually pretty much different from the ones which we do in the houses or the one which we do in the kind of actually lux I think which we were just discussing a little while back.
Right.
The kind of actually the kind of actually output which you actually need is huge, and you actually have to you have to actually avoid a lot of these light and dark shades, which we people generally have. For example, a hospitality project, we have a lot of these actually light and dark areas which have to be focused on. But whenever we are into an industrial an industry or any kind of an industrial lighting, so then the total focus actually shifts on human comfort. It actually shifts on human let us say we should call it human actually safety, so these are the things. And it was a pretty interesting thing because actually we had to do a whole lot of work along with some of the consultants who actually kind of actually taught us actually how to get this equal amount of light. So I think that was my first kind of actually brush which people had, and it was a very good experience. Yes.
Lovely. Kamalji, what about you? What has your experience been with industrial lighting?
So I have designed one biscuit factory, Anmol Biscuit.
Okay.
Which is Calcutta-based, Eastern India, very strong presence they have.
Sure.
So in that factory, my first criteria was to create day inside the industrial set. That was the first criteria. So it was absolutely day kind of ambience where the laborers and the worker, whoever is working inside, they feel like quite energetic, and it was quite productive. After that result, even the owner told me that Kamalji, it is working very well because the timeline and all, the kind of productivity they get, the kind of effectiveness they get in the labor, that was quite good. It was because of the light.
Excellent. If one is able to sort of create daylight, like a daylight environment, there's nothing better than that.
Say in industrial sets, there is lot of nature light in the design. It is incorporated. maybe
Sure.
from the roof, maybe from the wall side and all. Because inside it is a huge space which is normally required from the roof side if you can have a daylight inside. And there is a smart lighting system which is balancing whatever the deficiency from the daylight, it will be added through the fixtures and through the lighting and all. So this is what the smart lighting we try to incorporate in the industrial places.
Sure.
And now these days you'll see one trend in the market. There's a marble showrooms.
Right.
They sells the showroom. They sells the marble inside. Earlier it was supposed to be outside in the open air.
Right.
Now it is everything is covered. So the first marble showroom in Kolkata, which is designed at Atlantis.
Sure.
So I've suggested them कि boss इसको पूरा cover करो and put the lighting inside. They was not convinced. I put the sample. I've done the sampling and I've told them कि if it is not if you're not happy, then you sell it in the daytime.
Right.
And if it is possible, you sell at night time.
Sure.
So after that, now they are very much happy that at what time the architect wants to come, they can show
come.
the marble. So this is the magic, or this is the kind of effect we are getting from the lighting.
Of course, lighting can be so vital and play such an important role in any sort of environment, even if it's industrial. So my next question is to Mr. Sen. And if you could share a story about when you first got interested in industrial lighting and sort of make you take up this responsibility with Eveready.
See, for me, industrial lighting has been, you can say, a part of my DNA now. Because just to share with all of you that I had been in lighting for last more than 25 years now. And I have worked into many industrial projects. But the coolest one, since you asked me that question, was the time when there was a transformation into lighting, when lighting was changing from conventional from the HID version to LED. And the first people who went into LED was Maruti Suzuki. And incidentally, in my earlier assignment, I was involved into it. And we changed the complete Maruti Suzuki plant into LED solutions. And you said about automobile has got different requirements as far as lighting levels are concerned. When they do the testing of their vehicles, when they see the paint finish,
right,
they talk of illumination level close to maybe 1500, 2000 lux. And when you have to create with an LED solutions, that demands a lot of expertise, but because that was the time when LED was coming into the industry. So that was one of a learning experience for all of us. And if I give you an example of LED lighting into a factory which is very close to the eastern region, which is Tata Steel.
Right.
Okay. People spoke about that we can dim LEDs. They said no, we don't want any dimming in our factory because lighting has got a direct impact to the safety of the workers' work. So initial reaction was no dimming required because an accident caused in an industry, in a workshop, is which any factory owner can't take it. So lighting has got so much impact on the basic requirement of a factory is safety, and lighting plays a lot of importance to it. Apart from that, in today's world, we talk of productivity, creating comfort zone for the people working in a lighting, in a workshop area. So lighting has got huge amount of impact for an industrial domain. I won't go deep into it, but without lighting, an industry cannot run. That's a mandatory thing. But lighting also can create lot of quantitative and qualitative benefits for a factory owner, for the people who are working in the factory. So it's a very, very important and critical parameter.
I was just briefed about this product of Eveready, which is the 2x2 light for industrial use with the battery backup. I think that product would be really handy for a situation keeping in mind the safety of workers, when there's a power failure and all of a sudden it just doesn't become like a dark area. Yeah, so that's quite interesting to know that all these aspects are looked into when these products are being developed. So my question to you, Mr. Sharma, is which is the coolest sort of industrial lighting factory or place that you've ever seen?
Let's start with the lighting. If you talk about lighting, and especially the industrial lighting, the face has changed a lot in the last 20-25 years, starting from an old time when the GLS started, then converted, then GLS to a sodium and mercury, sodium mercury converted to HID lamp, which is metal light, and now LED, right? And industry also move accordingly from a normal manufacturing unit to a automated, where the people want light exactly in the same places, and different requirement the way my friends are talking about. If you're talking about the coolest experiences very recently, and my personal, I would say, interest also, we break Tata Steel, and Tata Steel means where the requirement is where light can work up to a 60 degrees Celsius, because furnace is working up to that level. Because we are working with the lights who work in cold storages where temperature is minus 15, minus 20, and now there's Tata Steel where is up to 60 degrees Celsius. So I'm talking Eveready also, we made the LED and choose the binning like that can fit for both the places.
I would love to see how the Eveready factory has been designed, how the lighting for your premises has been designed.
With then on to add now smart lighting solution also giving a very big edge to all industrial lighting. Already I think my friend has started about this. Not only energy saving, but like the efficiency also. What type of lumen, what type of color temperature you're putting, that human centric light which people knows it. Human centric means your efficiency also gonna increase. If you get the same atmosphere which you are getting natural, you got in a workplace also, it is scientifically proved 20-30% energy efficiency gonna increase. Like early morning shifts of industries, when we get 2000 Kelvin or 2500 Kelvin at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m.
Right.
Or at 2:30 dark afternoon we get 7000, 8000 Kelvin. Our work efficiency also increase. So that is also a new additions as a human centric light and industrial lighting, which increase overall efficiency of the system.
So what is the color rendering index which which should be achievable for these light fixtures, which is good for human health?
Yeah, good, very interesting question. He's talking about like the marble industry is shifting from outdoor to indoor. I remember old days when people knows about in villages, when women go to purchase the all cotton things, they go outside the shop and check, the colors are matching or not. But now the CRI, which is more than 90%, 95%, even these marble can give a right natural effect inside the thing also. So CRI, see, we can take 100% CRI also. Any lighting source which give light with a incandescent, like incandescent means either it can be a candle, it can be a GLS, it can anything, it give 100%. But nowadays with LED on part, incandescent part is more or less finished. So we can get up to 93-94% CRI, which is as good as 100.
Okay, great. So Kamalji, my next question is for you. What are some key factors to consider when designing lighting for safety in industrial environments?
For me is the only one factor is important. It is supposed to be uniform. It is supposed to be daylight all over. That is most important requirement I give to my consultant. And I think that is the right atmosphere for industrial worker, and of course the ambience where the energy will not go down for the worker. So that is what the most important criteria for me.
Okay, do you think this for daylight being like so focal, it helps in improving efficiency in industrial settings?
Yeah, 100%. Because whenever the lighting is uniformly and people feel like they are working in that kind of ambience, it is not, see, as soon as you see that the sunlight goes and evening comes, so you feel started like yes, abhi din khatam ho gaya, the whole mindset change. But when you see everywhere it is a daylight kind of ambience, once you come out of the industry, that time you feel like yare shaam ho gayi, chalo ghar chalte hain. And that is where the body energy is also connected to the lighting.
Excellent. So Mr. Dhar, my question is for you. I would like to get a little bit of your personal insight on industrial lighting and how sort of like an industrial look can be adapted for a residential or a commercial setting.
Ajayji, I think here I have a separate, kind of a separate kind of a view. You see, an industry is what? It is actually essentially a huge shed. It's huge spans, huge shed. So the same that we basically have in airports. Just taking a cue from what actually Kamalji said and
Sure.
Mr. Sen. So you have to create this area where you basically have an equal amount of light, and which doesn't have actually zones, which certain zones which are actually very kind of actually brightly lit, and then again certain zones which are actually very dark. It is for basically the safety. So, and also we need to harness we all talk about sustainability. We
Right.
also need to harness the light, the light which is coming from outside. So airports, I think,
Right.
airports are a very good example. I don't know, maybe it's very expensive, for architects to create an airport as a kind of a factory shed. But then, actually the total way how, the airports are designed, which is actually facing the east or the north. So where you have, a certain amount of light which is coming out all throughout the day.
Right.
The use of diffusers. If you go to any airport, I mean, people obviously travel, we
Sure.
keep traveling, go to Hyderabad airport, even the Calcutta airport,
Right.
the whole day you've got this. And the way that actually natural light has been diffused, and it creates a kind of an equal ambience all throughout the place. I think that is a very interesting place from which all of us architects can actually learn.
Sure.
That, as to how these actually natural light. I mean, any airport you go to, Hong Kong airport, or even I was there at this Guangzhou airport recently. Beautifully done. I mean,
Right.
you've got this actually natural light which is harnessing the total this thing which is coming from the ceiling,
Sure.
and also from the sides. So I think that is a very interesting way how we people can probably incorporate into our factory sheds and the other stuff which we need.
So what would be your take on sort of adapting like industrial design, like in interiors specifically? For example, like it could be an IKEA store or this whole industrial look with concrete flooring, or using these kind of industrial lights which are like big fixtures and making a grid on a ceiling and giving it sort of like, maybe like a residence is not really a place for an industrial setting, but then somehow like, this whole sort of this urbanness, and to bring in that vibe of, using industrial materials for an interior setting for a residence. Do you think it could work?
I think in actually, which I think all of us should agree, that industrial actually look is
Sure.
kind of in now. You find it in cafes. You actually find it in actually cafes, restaurants.
Right.
You have those exposed ceilings and those
Right.
huge lights. So that kind of actually look, that industrial look, as we people say,
Right.
is actually in, and it has been incorporated into houses also. I mean, we actually see a lot of these exposed concrete finishes, exposed, the exposed conduits, exposed
Sure.
lights. So yes, I mean, we have actually kind of actually come to a point where I think, all the kind of designs are, there is a lot of interconnection. Where we
Right.
have a lot of things which have been taken from the industries into the houses, or into the cafes, into the hospitality, and also a lot of things which have been taken from these other, actually kind of types of interiors into, I think, into these. So I think that there is a lot of interconnectivity when it comes
Sure.
to designing. So
Sure.
people are experimenting. So it's
Absolutely.
it's really nice.
So, Mr. Sen, with this clue, do you think we could look at Eveready making like, lighting, designing lights, which are primarily for industrial use, industrial lighting, but then they're so beautiful that we could probably use them in our interior settings? Can we expect that in the future?
They'll ask design from us only.
Of course, I like this.
Take your point. So, coming back to your question, I'll first explain what lighting has for us. Okay,
Sure.
because I'll take the cue from him and also what Mohit spoke about. Lighting we spoke about for uniform illuminations and all that. Because first few things which we should consider is that our eyes has got rods and cones, which we studied in schools. This rod and cones give us the color distinguishing, and rods actually helps us to see in darkness. But there is another sensor within our eyes which actually gives a signal to a particular gland within our body which secretes hormones. So taking the point which you said, in the morning hours, there is a particular wavelength of the sunlight, which all of us agree that sunlight is the natural thing, and we are all, our body biological cycle is accustomed to that natural sunlight. Now, if we are able to create that and mimic the change of color temperature which you see in the sunlight, if you are able to do that in our artificial lighting, we can ensure that the workers working in the industry has got the maximum output. So you said in the evening when the factory workers go back, they are drained, they feel relaxed. So why not create a lighting situation that in the morning when they come to the factory, their energy level is the best. So it's possible, and Eveready is able to do that. That in the lighting luminaire which we are introduced
Right.
for the industrial area, that can change the color temperature, mimic the sunlight with
Okay.
the daylight sensors, and follow the change in the color temperature so that the people working in the workshop area are actually feeling that they are working in a natural habitat. So this has got huge impact. Apart from maintaining the uniformity, maintaining the right lighting level for the application concerned,
Right.
you also ensure that the biological clock which is within
Right,
ourselves
right.
ensures that each of us is absolutely perfect, alert in the job what they are doing. So
Sure.
that is the aspect of lighting Eveready Industries is taking care.
I have a small question over there, just
Sure.
taking it from you, Ajay. That is this only restricted to the industries, or can this be used in all other fixtures like?
It can be taken to
after day night is important.
See, they can be taken into offices also. I'll give you an example, because in today's world, people are inside office almost 10 to 12 hours, maybe to the extent of 14 hours also. So alertness is very, very important for each and every employee working inside an office. So this can be taken into each of those lights which you are seeing it here for office lighting also. And there are sensors available which will sense the daylight both on intensity, both on the color temperature, and they will mimic the daylight and ensure that each and every office person, a person who is working on a monitor screen or on a laptop, is completely alert throughout the day. Because you all know, after a lunch, we do have a tendency to take a short nap.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
We all know that in Bengal.
and if you have to ensure that our colleagues or the people working, when they come back from lunch, they do not take that nap, you have to ensure that the right lighting has to be there.
Yeah, and also I think the correct color temperature is very important for this sleeplessness which is happening, which we people know that
Yeah.
that secretion of those hormones, etc., etc. So yes, that the correct, I think, color temperature was what Ajay was also asking a little while back. It's very important for us also to understand that what is that correct color temperature, which should not only for offices, it would be done for cafeterias, restaurants, offices. Yes, where people are staying there for at least around 8 to 9 hours a day, or actually probably more. So I think yes, that's very interesting.
I'll give you an example for a call center where people are actually servicing clients in US. So those guys who are working in India, they are working all throughout the night. So the lighting recommended for them is absolutely blue light, because they have to, their normal biological cycle, the clock they will go to sleep. Now if they have to keep them awake, you have to change the lighting schemes. Otherwise, how will they serve the clients in US? So this is the amount of lighting which can impact an individual. And as you rightly highlighted, the point which many of us are actually suffering from this night sleep. And even in mobiles, you can see, you can change your color, the display screen. I mean, in the evening hours, you can, because we see too much of mobiles, so we can change this color from blue to warm colors, so that our secretion of hormones is actually, which ensures that we go to sleep at 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. So that's the impact of light.
I give a very live example. First, our human body, all people who are living, God made accordingly. Like for birds, you need not to time. It's the morning at 4 a.m., 4:30, you find the chirping start, and when it's gone over dusk, they gonna sleep. So our body is made like this. We can't change it 100% in lighting, but whatever best we can do so that it gonna not affect our efficiency as well as most important the health, which he's talking about.
So, Mr. Sharma, what are the new technologies in industrial lighting that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I just talked brief earlier also, the sensors and the smart lighting, which is nowadays a key. One part is increased efficiency, need not to tell, daylight sensors, we are using natural light when he's talking about the airport. In daytime when you're getting a 60% light is dim to that level, and at night time when light is gone, you get 100% light. And other sensors, it can be a wireless sensor so that you're out for a hustle and bustle of wiring, and it can be your Bluetooth, you can use other tools also. But another most important, which we are talking from last 10 years, the energy saving. I was just reading an article today in Eco Time. 1 degree increase in global temperature is gonna dip 12% of GDP. The world GDP. World GDP is 1,10,000 crore. Means 4 times of GDP of India. So that much can be a reverse effect of this global warming. And lighting, I would say, if you can control and right time, we can add to nation, we can add to world on a great level. Then this room, so much lighting is not required. Maybe it's required only at up to level. If we calculate the number of rooms, number of hotel, number of industries with sensors, right use of sensor and smart lighting, we can use right electricity and make it a contribution to this green world.
So, like Mr. Sharma just said, that this banquet space right now is overlit. So, Mr. Dhar, my question to you is, what are the common mistakes one makes while doing the lighting design?
Well, I think first of all is that, the correct actually combination in between aesthetics and the calculations. Let us say there is always a mathematical calculation, and there is always the aesthetics. Now, architects generally tend to go towards the aesthetics more, and we actually tend to sometimes foresee probably that is the reason why, we need a particular chandelier, we need a particular light, without considering that, because at that time aesthetics probably play a very important role, because that is actually a major part of our everyday work. But yes, this has to be it has to be also controlled. It also has to be controlled. It also has to have a lot of this expert advice, which should come in from other consultants, especially electrical, especially lighting. So I think, and you see, at the end of the day, it is comfort. It's all actually focused on human comfort. We people are talking about the CRI, we are talking about the color temperature, we are talking about sustainability, air conditioning, anything, but it's all driven for ultimately human comfort. And I think it's the architect's job, the interior designer's job to ensure that a kind of combination and the proper actually we need to create a kind of a balance in which all these things are kind of actually taken care of.
Right. So Kamalji, how do we create this balance which Mr. Dhar just mentioned?
So architect is supposed to be worker in the industry. He
Yes.
should feel like how the worker is working, what are the process in the industry, and he should understand what kind of equipment, what kind of machine, what is the production, where the person is standing, where the material receiving is going on, where the lighting fixture is supposed to be placed, where the structure is coming, where the other services are coming, so that the no shadow will create, and task lighting can be done nicely. At the same time, the person's shadow will not affect to the thing. So that is how you have to be inside the industry. You have to understand the process, how the work is going on, and then you start putting to the lighting designing that key, I want this kind of uniform atmosphere, and these are my hurdles in the lighting designing. That is most important.
Okay, so if you were given like a budget-free site, budget is not a criteria. So it could be an industrial space, it could be an airport, it could be any place of your choice. How would you design the lighting, keeping everything in mind and making it like a statement?
Ajay, in this case, I think budget is not a issue where I can create through the more budget. If the budget is more, I can create better. It is not like that. It is most important is what is the need of the place, because it's a huge space. Creating a impact lighting I think that is not the case in industrial lighting or airport lighting. Of course, the balancing through the natural light, artificial light, that is most important. At the same time, uniform atmosphere, workable, and the kind of ambience, the kind of space we are looking for, that is most important. Budget, of course, I'll say that when you're selecting the fixtures, that is most important. You should not select the fixture which will be require more maintenance, or it is not working well. So because such a big huge space, you will not be able to change lighting fixtures so frequently. So that is most important. Where the budget is required is required.
Of course, absolutely. So my next question is for the Eveready team. Any one of y'all can decide to answer. How do you foresee the role of renewable energy sources in powering industrial lighting systems in the future?
Actually, renewable energy is the future. I think we are blessed enough. India has such a great resource of sun, so we can use this solar energy more than atomic energy, which is a big question of conflict worldwide. And renewable energy means not only we are saving money in producing energy, we are making a green energy. And as an advantage, we need not to make so many resources other than northeast part or some east part. The sunlight is so scorching in India. In one way, people are crying because of heat wave. Other way, this heat wave can be converted into so many lives in India. And yes, we are ready. We are ready with our many solar resources. We have done number of NHA project in solar. We are planning many industrial light also in solar. And coming time, we are doing another R&D so that this solar aspect become more and more strong in everyday lighting.
Great.
Okay, just to add what Mohit was telling, incidentally the LED lights works on DC voltage. Okay. So when the solar source is there, it charges the battery, and battery gives back DC volt. So normally when we use it with an AC source, there is a driver in between which converts the AC into DC. So there is a bit amount of loss of energy. So if we do it with a sustainable solar source, you can avoid that loss also. So it's an absolutely DC to DC. So it's a boon. I mean, if you are able to convert more and more and you get good quality batteries in future, I mean, you can have entire connected lighting load converted into a renewable source. So that's the potential of using a renewable source in future.
When you talk about battery and good quality, I think nothing can be better than Eveready.
I was actually just asking that I think the whole thing is about how you're going to store that kind of electricity and how it's going to be kind of actually transported. I think that is where the total challenge lies of bringing in solar into our everyday lives.
So the only limitations in DC is basically when you transfer a DC source to the connected load, the cable cost goes up because DC has got a huge voltage drop when you transfer voltage. So you need to have the source quite close to your connected loads. So that's a limitation. So God knows something can come up in future where you can save those losses.
Sure. So my next question is for both the architects here. Is a little piece of advice or tip that you can give to our viewers and to the young architects who would be designing lighting in the future for their projects. It could be an industrial lighting project, it could be any kind of a project. So some piece of advice for them, Kamalji.
So my advice to budding architect and of course upcoming architects to design the lighting, what is required, that is most important, and focus on smart lighting so that we can use renewable energy for our project. That is very, very important in upcoming projects.
Yeah, I also, kind of agree that, just like a little while back as we were speaking, that it is all about having the correct, actually combination of aesthetics and actually the calculations and also the total, the total combination of all these factors and all these parameters, so which ultimately brings about human comfort. Number two is also to take care of, how you're going to harness the what we call it, actually sunlight, or how we're going to harness actually natural light. Because like I said, for an industrial shed, we have the option of having, actually a lot of natural light coming in from the roof. We have a lot of light which can come in from the walls, even though these are huge spans. But yes, we have to kind of strike a balance in between all these things. And I think this is where the actual responsibility of the architect or of the designer actually lies, as to how we can strike the correct actually balance in between all these factors and all these parameters.
Great. Thank you so much. This discussion was really insightful. And thank you so much for this panel discussion.